This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. In the previous session, we were talking about month-end activities in a project, and now let us talk about year-end activities in a project. When you're talking about year-end activities, as part of your implementation document checklist, you need to prepare two document checklist. One is your month-end checklist, another one is your year-end checklist, because as an implementation consultant or as a project consultant, you are the right person to decide what processes have been implemented. According to these processes, what are the activities which are to be executed at the end of a month, which we discussed in the last session. Now, at the same time, at the end of every financial year, what kind of activities are to be executed to make sure that your balances will be rolled over or carry forwarded to the next year without having any difficulties. Now, in this process, you need to again understand what kind of activities will have to be performed as part of your year-end activity. You write year-end activities here. Now, when you're talking about year-end activities, by default, year-end activities include all the month-end activities. All the month-end activities are part of year-end activity. Okay, whatever the month-end activity which you have, every month-end activity is part of year-end activity because you are going to perform year-end activity for 12th month. Whatever the activities which you are going to perform for every month, similarly you are going to perform the same activities for the last month, which is your year end. Year end is nothing but last month of the year. For closing the last month of the year, first thing perform the month end activity, later on perform the year end activity. When you're talking about performing year end activity, you need to make sure what kind of activities are additionally performed other than month end activity. Here we need to make sure other than month end activity, there are few important points, which is specifically you'll have to make sure module wise data reconciliation. When you're talking about module wise data reconciliation, because at the end of the day, what we are going to do, you are going to close the year. When you are going to close the year, you are going to freeze the financial for a particular year. Once financials are freezed or once financials are closed for a particular year, it is practically not possible to reopen it. Why it is practically not possible to reopen once the year is closed? Because you are going to get audit confirmation, you are going to get audit seal or audit sign off on the financial statement for the year end. Meaning, if you're talking about financial year 2024, financial year 2023, whatsoever, for that particular financial year, the closing figures will be audited and they will be approved by the audit firm. You have many auditing companies in the market like your big four like Deloitte, all this kind of a thing. Depending on the size of the company, each company may employ or each company may have the tie-up with any auditing firm in the market. But in short, your auditing company will send the chartered accountants. Your auditing firm or your auditing company will send chartered accountant who is going to validate, who is going to review all your financials. When they review, when they audit all the financials, during this, they are going to ask a lot of queries. During this, they are going to ask a lot of queries. Now, all these queries are given to the business, not to the consultant. All these queries are given to the business, not to the consultant. What business will do? Business will take the query from the audit. Whatever they can provide, they will provide, or whatever they can justify, they will justify. If they find any information which is related to system, how this report is calculating or how this value is coming. In case if your business, we are talking about the user. In case if your users are stuck, if your users are not clear how to answer this, then they will be forwarding the query to you as a consultant. Now, as a consultant, you need to make sure you will be able to respond. Now, especially when you are giving support on the year-end activity or when you are part of any project in which there is year-end conversion or year-end activities going on, as a FICO consultant, you have to be very, very careful. As a FICO consultant, you have to be very, very careful because there will be a lot of activities involved here. There will be a lot of activities involved here. Your client, your users will be posting lot of adjustment entries. Your client will be recording a lot of adjustment entries. Now, for passing all these adjustment entries, Sometimes they will be seeking your assistance, they will be seeking your confirmation stating, if I pass this accounting entry, will there be any impact? Or this is what is my situation, can I pass this accounting entry, can I adjust this? They will be asking you. Now as a consultant you cannot say I don't know. As a FICO consultant you are not supposed to say I do not know, and if you are really not aware you have to check and then let them know immediately. It's not like your regular month-end support. It's not like your day-to-day issue. This is something related to your year-end closing. Your client will be raising all the queries related to year-end as a priority. When we say as a priority, because your client may be sitting with the auditor. Point number one, your clients will be sitting with the auditors. In short, somebody from Deloitte or KPMG, EY, PwC, any audit firm may be sitting, or the auditors will be visiting the client location. They are going to sit with the business users. Business user, we are talking about the team who is responsible for preparing financials. Business users means team who is responsible for preparing financial, meaning MIS team or the reporting team who is going to prepare your TB PNL balance sheet. With them, they are going to sit, they are going to analyze everything. When they analyze everything, they are going to understand the different points here. When we're talking about a different point, they may be asking a different kind of a business processes. When you're talking about, they are going to understand a different kind of a business processes, maybe sales process, purchasing process, or your asset capitalization process, or your currency revaluation process. Likewise, any business process, how you're currently doing it, they might ask your team. I mean, they might ask your client or the user. If your user is able to explain, it is fine. If not, the user might call you. If not, the user might call you. You may have to sit along with the user, or you may have to give your contribution along with the user to the auditor, stating that this is how the process is mapped in SAP. This is how system is working for this particular process. In this process, they might ask what are the control points built in SAP. In this process, they might ask what are the control points built in SAP, and who is authorized to do this activity. Can we get this report? Can we just get this dump? Can we get the dump? Different kind of things may be asked or requested by the user or by the auditing team. Now, as a consultant, you'll have to extend your support during the year end, which you'll have to understand. Point number one, what you're going to do here is, by default, all the month end activities are included here. Module-wise data reconciliation. When you're talking about module-wise data reconciliation, you have different other modules. Depending on the project, depending on the company, you need to understand what modules are implemented. Here we are talking about, is it only FI implemented or is it only MM implemented? SD is also there, PP is also there, PM is also there, PS is also there, HR is also there. Depending on the modules, whatever are implemented, from the respective module side, you'll have to get a confirmation from the respective consultant stating everything is accounted or all the entries are posted, all the reports are fine. From your stock point of view, sales point of view, purchase point of view, production point of view, your HR employee specific point of view, accounting point of view, costing point of view, make sure at every module there are again sub modules. For example, if you're talking about finance or FI, you have GL. Make sure from the GL point of view, every accounting entry is recorded with respect to the current year. If you're talking about 2024 is the new year, the latest year which you are going to close will be 2023. Make sure for the financial year 2023, all the entries are accounted from GL perspective. All the entries are performed from AP point of view, AR point of view, tax point of view, cash point of view, bank point of view, and then if you have any other things, everything is properly done. From the CO point of view, all the cost center balances, internal orders, or anything, whatever you have, the functionalities that are implemented, from each and every functionality point of view, make sure everything is fine. Your user, your client may be aware, they may not be aware, but as a consultant, you need to send a reminder, you need to give a checklist. Meaning you cannot expect if there is a problem, they will come back to you. As a consultant, it is a responsibility to send out an email. Even for the month-end activities, as a support team or as a project team, you'll have to send an email or send a reminder stating that hope the month end is approaching, all the entries are supposed to be posted or whatsoever. Please let us know in case if you need any assistance during the month end closing or during the year end closing. These emails must go from a team point of view, I mean the project team point of view. Either you're talking from the implementation, rollout support, an email must be sent out so that tomorrow if it is delayed, if there are any issues, if there are any problems, it should not be a surprise for you, because you are giving a heads up, month end is approaching, please make sure these activities are performed. In case of any difficulties, in case of any problems, please reach out to us. Meaning you are on a safer side. Means you are on a safer side, you are giving a heads up, you are giving a checklist, please make sure these activities are performed. And in case if they are stuck somewhere, you are asking them to reach out to the respective team member, to the respective consultant to get the assistance. Now here, once you make sure that module wise data reconciliation or balance confirmation, everything is done, you'll have to make sure the specific year-end activities are there. You'll have to make sure there are specific year-end activities which are not part of month-end activity. Any idea what are those year-end activities which you'll have to perform only on year-end, which are not a month-end activity?
Number ranges, sir.
First point is number ranges, correct? Because here you are telling one point, even in the interview you'll have to tell all the month-end activities are part of year-end activity. Don't elaborate month-end activities when somebody is asking you about year-end activity, or when you're talking about year-end activity, please do not include month-end activity list. Just mention only a single statement stating all month-end activities are part of year-end activity. Other than that, you list out the points which are exclusively performed on a month-end year-end basis. Your month-end activities are supposed to be excluded, or one liner. Yes, number range is correct. What else?
Fiscal year.
Fiscal year means what?
I mean, we have to mention the fiscal year and the special periods. We have to create a new year. Suppose if we are doing configuration for 2024, we have to maintain fiscal year for the 2024.
Or I would say open special posting period. Can this be year-end activity?
Yes.
Opening of special posting period. Can this be a year-end activity or not? Yes, no?
Yes.
Can I
Yes, sir.
say opening of a
Yes, sir.
special
Yes, sir.
posting period
It
is a
is
year-end
month-end
activity?
activity.
Special posting period I'm talking about. I'm not talking about regular posting period. I'm talking
Special
about
Okay,
posting is
okay.
not an year-end activity.
special posting is year-end activity, because for every organization there is a logic. When we say there is a logic for closing the month, let's say for example, your client is using +3 working days, or +3 calendar days, or +5 +7 working or calendar days. This is the regular cycle to close every month. This is regular cycle for closing every month. The same logic is applied for all the 12 months. If you are working from January to December, you need to close on the next month 4th or next month 3rd, 5th, depending on the logic. And year end is not an exception to it. There is something called soft close. Anybody heard something called soft close? Anybody heard something called soft close?
No, sir.
Alright, somebody might call soft close, meaning you are closing the month of period number 12 on the regular interval, which means as usual, you are supposed to prepare the regular MIS, regular P&L balance sheet on 5th of every month. For example, I am on June. June MIS will be prepared on July 5th. Likewise, if you are following January to December, December closing must happen on January 5th. Year end is not an exemption. Year end is not a special case here. You'll have to make sure, as usual, you post entries, you perform the reporting on a monthly basis. Year end also, you have to do the same thing for period number 12. Whether it is your March or it is your December, there is no exception. Do the soft close as per the regular interval, as per the regular logic, 5th of next month or 3rd of next month. After that, you are officially closing period number 12. After that, you are officially closing period number 12, and you are keeping special period number 13. You are keeping special period 13, or for the 12th month there may be an exception. Instead of closing on 5th, you may be closing on 10th. Instead of closing on 3rd or 5th, you may be closing on 10th, because for regular month you will have something called accrual deferral concept. For regular months you have something called accrual deferral concept. If I am not able to book this month, I'll say that I'll accrue it, I'll defer it, something like that. They might be booking outstanding prepaid and all. This month I'll adjust in next month, you can close it. But year end it is not like that. Year end you cannot say that if not I'll book in next year. Cannot happen. It can go to next month but not next year. Unless there is a valid reason, you are supposed to close all the current year activities in the current year itself. And you're not supposed to prolong it, you're not supposed to take it to the next year unless it is valid case. So you may be giving an exception stating that okay, this period we will be closing, since it is the last period of the regular month, 12th period will be closed on 10th of next month instead of 3rd or 5th as per our regular cycle. On 10th officially the period will be closed. On 10th officially you are going to close period number 12. Now from 11th onwards, anybody who is posting the accounting entry, anybody who is recording the entries related to 2023 or any year, they have to strictly update period number 13. They have to strictly post entries in special period, which will allow you to track how many entries are posted after year end. This will allow you to track how many entries are actually posted after the soft closure of the period, which will allow or which will give you a clear indication whether all the entries are posted on time or any entries are posted after the cutoff. Now here you have 4 special periods. When you're talking about you have 4 special periods here, it is completely optional to use 4 special period. You can manage with a single special period also. You can keep period number 13. You will be giving different kind of slots. For example, the cutoff for your year end activity. When you're talking about cutoff for year end activity, point number 1, you're talking about migrating data from current year to next year. Now can we do migrating the data or carry forwarding data from current year to next year only one time or multiple times? Can I do
One time.
balance
Only
carry
one time.
forward only one time,
One time.
or
Only
can I do multiple times?
only
Only
one time.
one time.
One time activity.
No, this can be done multiple times. Carry forwarding balances from one year to next year can be done unlimited times, because data carry forward or balance carry forward, will this have any accounting impact or no accounting impact? When you do balance carry forward, will this have any accounting impact or no accounting impact?
No accounting
No
impact.
agreed.
In fact,
There is no accounting impact. In short, there is no accounting entry posted when you perform balance carry forward activity. Whatever is the current year closing balance will automatically become next year opening balance. Now if you look at the GL reports, when you're talking about looking at the GL report, you're all aware there are different kind of reports. In every report, system will display the balances from the current year period number 1 to period number 16. Above period number 1, there is a special line called balance carry forward. Anybody noticed it when you're looking at balance reports?
Yes, sir.
When you're looking at the balance report, the top line will be something called balance carry forward. Below that, you will find period counting 1 to 16. Anybody noticed or not?
notice it, sir.
Right? So you'll have to look at all these reports when you're talking about the year end activities, when you're talking about when you're entering the new year, different kind of issues will pop up, and then you need to make sure why the problems are coming, because certain reports may not work. Certain reports will give inconsistent number because balance carry forward is not performed. If you're not performing balance carry forward, your current year balances, for example, you're moving from 2023 to 2024. Now whatever was your closing balance in 2023 should reflect as 2024 opening balance. When you're running the report as on today or as on next year first period, you have to get the balances which was outstanding on last year. If it is not coming, meaning balance carry forward is not happened. Sometimes in 2023 closing balance is 5,000, in 2024 opening balance is 6,200. Possible or not possible? For example, I have 2023, I have 2024 also. In 2023, my closing balance is, let's say, 6,500, and in 2024 my opening balance is 5,300. Is this possible or not possible?
Not possible, sir.
Not possible, sir.
Yes, sir, it's possible.
This is possible. Why this is
Yes.
possible? For example, first one,
Maybe
Due to the adjustment, the
Due to the
year-end
adjustment
adjustment,
entries in the year end.
correct.
adjustment
BRS
entries.
BRS issue.
For example, carry forward done on, let's say, 17th. Now additional entry passed on 19th. Additional entry passed on 19th. For example, on 17th, when you done the carry forward, the balance was 5,300. Now this 5,300 is reflecting here, which is correct. Now after performing the balance carry forward, some user recorded another entry in 2023 for the differential amount. What is the differential amount? 1200, 1300,
1200.
800.
1200. There is a 1200
Double.
entry additionally posted by the user in 2023, but by the time the user had passed this accounting entry or this additional entry, what we need to do? We need to re-perform the balance carry forward or not?
Yes, sir.
You
So,
need to
yeah.
perform the balance carry forward once again. Only then system will do the delta update. When you're talking about a delta update, currently 5,300 is updated. Now from 5,300, what is the revised closing balance in 2023? That will be updated, meaning 5,300 will be automatically updated as 6,500. There is no accounting entry here. Else what will happen? Your opening balance, closing balance will not match. Your opening balance, closing balance will not match. You can talk these points as your support incidents. And next thing, you can tell that when you're talking about updating number ranges, what number ranges are you going to update during the year end? Are you going to update all the number ranges? Because you have so many number ranges. You have so many number ranges. When you're talking about number range, what exactly do you mean by number range? In short, what kind of a number ranges are you going to maintain at the year end? In
Documents number
general,
range.
you have document number range. What else number range you have?
Vendors and customer number ranges and asset type number ranges.
You have vendor number range, customer number range, BP number range, asset number
That one
range,
is master
document
data.
number range. Right? Now, do we maintain all the number ranges or only specific number range?
Only document number ranges only we need to maintain next year.
Only document number range. Now, are you going to maintain all the document number ranges or any exceptions in the document number range? Is there any document number range that is not maintained at the year end? Is there any number such?
Except sales
Like
doc.
asset accrual.
Number range is not year dependent, then we need to maintain the next year.
There is one number range which is not year dependent. What is that?
Sale
Customer
Sales
is
range.
dependent number ranges.
Billing side, sir.
billing
Billing
document.
Billings,
document number
billings.
ranges, right? Billing document number ranges are not year dependent, they are continuous series. Now, apart from billing document number ranges, all other number ranges you are going to maintain. When you are maintaining all other number ranges, you need to be very specific. Other than billing document, we will be updating other number ranges. If you are not specifically talking about certain points, it will give a different opinion. Don't blindly tell we will maintain number ranges. Tell we will maintain number ranges other than billing document, because billing document number ranges are continuous. Billing document number ranges are continuous, as billing document number range is derived from the ST billing document number range. In the ST side, it is not year dependent. In the ST side, it's a continuous number range which they are going to provide. Same number as it is, you will copy in a file as an external number range. And these points, if you're not specifically talking about, they might put a cross question. Don't wait until they put a cross question. These small points, if you're adding while explaining these points, that will give a different kind of opinion. And when you're talking about balance carry forward, is there any logic that I need to do balance carry forward, or I can randomly do it? Where do you do balance carry forward? When you're talking about balance carry forward, what exactly we mean by balance carry forward?
GL figures are carried forward to next financial year.
Which
balance
figures?
sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet account GL.
So you have P&L and L and you have balance sheet. When you're talking about balance carry forward, are we doing carry forward for P&L account or balance sheet account?
Only the
Only
balance
Only
sheet
balance
items
sheet
is only
accounts.
we need to forward.
balance sheet account.
Only balance sheet accounts are relevant for balance carry forward. What will happen to P&L? Balance sheet accounts will be part of carry forward for next year.
P&L will be retained earnings. Retained earnings will
Retain
be
earnings.
P&L
Yeah.
accounts will be part of retained earnings. When you're talking about P&L accounts will be part of retained earnings, how system is going to calculate that this is the retained earnings figure? What is the logic? How system will calculate a retained earnings amount? Because SAP does not know what is the format of P&L. Am I correct? SAP doesn't know what is the format of P&L account. What is the blind logic which SAP will use to find out the retained earnings balance? So you're not
Sir,
supposed to
I'm
tell
not
me
sure,
take
but
the
I think
expenses on the left hand side,
Sorry, the
income on the
only
right
financial
hand
statement
side.
variations.
Balancing debit and credit side of P&L.
So what system will straight away do whenever you create a GL master? While creating a GL master will have P&L balance sheet type. Yes, no.
yes.
If you're talking about
Okay.
ECC, in ECC it's a radio button. Am I correct? In ECC, while creating any GL account, you'll have to choose between the two radio buttons, P&L account, balance sheet account. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes, sir.
ECC, differentiation between P&L and balance sheet is with the help of a radio button. But in S4 HANA system, is it radio button or it's a drop down option?
Drop down option.
Drop down option.
drop down.
Drop down assumption, sir.
Drop down option.
It's a drop down. When you're talking about a drop down, you have a list. When you're talking about a drop down, you're talking about a list. From this list, system will understand whether it is a P&L account or it is a balance sheet account. In short, if you go to SKA1 table, you will find there are two buttons. You will find P&L and balance sheet. Anybody noticed this in the SKA1 table? Anybody noticed in SKA1 table there are two fields called one field for P&L account, another field for balance sheet account.
Yes,
SAP
sir.
will
Two
update
columns.
column X. SAP will put value X if it is a P&L account in the P&L column. SAP will put X for balance sheet account if it is a balance sheet account. Is this correct? Anybody noticed or not?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Right? Noticed, right? So what system will do? It will take blindly sum of all P&L accounts is equal to retained earnings balance. Now, when you're talking about sum of all P&L accounts is equal to retained earnings balance. Now, you're talking about two retained earnings account. Last year, a retained earnings account, current year, a retained earnings account. Sum of all P&L account will give you current year retained earnings account or the existing retained earning account balance. Sum of all P&L account, will it give you current year retained earnings account or last year retained earnings account balance?
Last year return in second.
Sum of P&L account.
Only the current year, sir.
That will be your current year retained earnings account. That is your current year retained earnings account. Now, when you're talking about this point, you'll have to remember another point. 2 points. There is something called opening balance is equal to closing balance. This is correct. For example,
Yes.
sorry, it's not this.
Open.
Opening balance of current year is equal to closing balance of previous year.
Previous.
We're talking about current year opening balance, you're representing previous year closing balance. We're talking about current month opening balance, you're talking about previous month closing balance. Is this a statement correct?
Yes, sir.
Above statement is applicable for all accounts except
Retain
which
earnings.
account? Except
Retain
retained
earnings.
earning. Now this is one of the support ticket you can tell. At the end of the year, your client had raised a request stating retained earnings account closing balance is not matching with retained earnings account opening balance. This will never match. It will never match because this is not the logic in SAP for retained earnings account balance. Those who are not talking, please be on mute. Okay, how system is going to calculate retained earnings account opening balance?
Based on financial statements variant.
No. If you're talking about next year, for example, assuming example, we are closing year 2023 and moving to 2024. Okay. Now in this situation, I am telling closing balance of 2023 retained earnings account will not match with opening balance of retained earnings account in 2024 TB. Is my statement correct or not?
Yes.
Right. In short, I'll say December I think somebody will have to go on mute, those who are not talking. Assuming December closing balance is equal to retained earnings account will show positive balance or negative balance.
Depend on business transactions.
In
Negative
general,
balance.
assuming that you are at a profit, assuming that you are getting profit,
Negative, sir. Negative.
Negatives.
Negative.
it will be negative. For example, I'll say 10,000
Credits.
is my retained earnings account balance. Okay, now if I look at January opening balance, it is not 10,000. Let's say it is giving 12,500. Is this correct or not correct? Is this the case in real time or this is not the case?
Yeah, one of the scenario in reality.
Right? This is the case. Now, what is happening when you're talking about December closing balance? December closing balance is representing which balance? 2022 profits. Agree? In the December trial balance, when you look at the retained earnings account, December retained earnings account include the 2023 profit figure or it will not include? Yes, no?
It includes.
It will not
It
include.
includes.
When system is going to calculate the retained earnings? When system is going to bring the retained earnings value? At what stage? At what stage system is going to bring retained earnings account value? During month end, during year end, or during balance carry forward activity?
Balance carry forward
Balance carry forward.
in the balance
When you're
sheet.
doing balance carry forward activity, this balance carry forward activity will result number in current year or next year?
Current year.
Balance carry forward activity will result the number in current year financials or in the next year financial?
Next year, sir.
Next year financials. Correct.
It will appear the number in the next year, not in current year. Is this statement correct? If I
Yes.
do the balance carry forward for 2023, numbers will reflect in 2023 or numbers will appear in 2024. Where your numbers are going?
2024.
Your numbers are going to 2024. Similarly, when you are performing the balance carry forward for 2023, retained earnings account number will be updated in current year trial balance or in the next year trial balance. In short, the December trial balance or January trial balance.
January trial balance.
It will reflect in January trial balance, meaning you need to understand the January opening balance is 12,500. Why 12,500? This is because previous closing balance is minus 10,000 and 2023 profit is 2,500. In short, it is 12,500. Is this correct? Breakup? Is this breakup correct? Yes, no? And if you tell somebody that you were part of year-end activities or you worked in SAP FICO for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatsoever, if you are not able to answer this will give very bad impression. You cannot say that you were part of year-end activities. You cannot say you know how balance carry forward works in SAP. You should never say, point number 1, balance carry forward will create an accounting entry. There is no accounting entry for balance carry forward. You can run balance carry forward as many times as you want. You can run balance carry forward as many times as you want. Point number 1. Point number 2, your balance carry forward will update the retained earnings account in the next year trial balance, not in the current year trial balance. In short, all the GL account balances will exactly tally with 2023 December trial balance value is exactly equivalent to 2024 January trial balance except retained earnings account balance. Except retained earnings account balance, retained earnings account 2023 does not include 2023 profit. Is my statement correct? In TB of 2023,
Yes, sir.
retained earnings does not include 2023 profit. When I'm talking about TB, remember it is last month of TB, next month of TB, meaning 2023 last period, 2024 first period. In TB 2024, retained earnings will include 2023 profit. Now there is a difference between 2023 and 2024. The difference is what? Last year profit. Am I correct? The difference is what? Last year profit. When you are in 2024, you are going to make sure whether all the opening balances are properly migrated, converted or not. You will do a VLOOKUP. Basically, the user who is going to work in the reporting team, what they do, they download the TB of 2023, they download the TB of 2024, they do a VLOOKUP. They simply do Excel formulas just to do if everything is true or not. They need to make sure all the closing balances of 2023 are exactly matching with opening balances of 2024. This is mandatory checklist. If anywhere you are finding the mismatches, you need to make sure somebody processed additional interest. Is it practically possible for you to go and verify if anybody posted additional entry or not?
Assets.
How?
Uh,
How do
we
you
check
track if somebody
GL
the
line
posted
items.
any additional entry?
GL line items report.
But GL line item will give a huge list, right? It will give a big list. How do you
Only
we
last
check
identify?
the
month and
opening
date
and
only it will
closing
get
balance.
posted, right, sir?
So you are going to identify based on something called entry date. Based on what?
Yeah. Entry date.
Whenever you post any accounting entry, you can update only two dates. One is your document date, another one is posting date. Other than these two dates, system is going to automatically update system date, system time. In short, the server date, server time. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right? Now,
Yes, sir.
whenever somebody is working on the reporting side, they note down all the points. When they say that they note down all the points, they know that on what date they closed. For example, 12th period, closing date they know. Similarly, 13th period, closing date also they know. When we're talking about it, similarly, if you're having 14, 15, 16, I know that I closed this period on 13th February. I know that I closed this period on 13th February. In short, until 13th February, all entries are okay. But what if somebody posted any entry after 14th? Because for different reasons, you may be reopening the period. So what kind of adjustments do we usually pass at the year end?
Income tax and withholding tax.
Tax, or in short, tax entries.
Stat-
What else? You
Statutory
have
payments.
something called provisions. What else you will post? Specifically during the year end, when I'm talking about during the year end, after doing the soft close of period number 12, before finalizing the profit loss for the current year, there will be certain adjustments which every company will post. What kind of adjustments they are going to post?
Inventories.
Audit
Those are
adjustments.
nothing but provisions. Your inventory provisions, debtor provision, whatsoever. You have
What
something called
statutory tables, Ajay?
Audit
Accruals.
adjustments.
Accruals, both.
Depreciations. Any depreciations?
those are part of your regular monthly depreciation you are going to run in December itself. And if you make any specific asset acquisition and all, again you are going to do depreciation rerunning.
Revaluation,
Specific
asset
entries,
revaluation,
WST back.
WHT are all part of your tax entries.
Asset
asset
revaluation.
revaluation,
Asset revaluation is part of, yeah, you can say asset revaluation.
selling
Okay.
transit,
GIT is nothing but your goods in transit. Okay. There's something called result analysis. Any idea what is result analysis? If you have projects and all, you will be talking about result analysis, especially when you have project system, you have actual revenue, planned revenue, and then actual expenses, planned expenses, and then you are going to arrive at, based on the project and all, you are going to derive what is the actual revenue, what is the planned revenue, and what will be the result analysis figure. So this is applicable in case if you have PS module, else not. And there's something called board resolution. Anybody heard this?
Yes, sir.
Right, there's something called board resolution adjustment entries, and these kind of a points you'll have to specifically talk. As I mentioned, you are not supposed to talk any point which is part of month-end activity. If you're talking about month-end activities in the year-end activity, it clearly represents you do not know what is year-end in SAP. When you're talking about SAP, you're talking about in a practical environment. You are not sure how year-end activities are executed, how a business closes their financials for any particular year. You are not aware if you're talking about month-end list, depreciation, open period, close period, all these kind of things are part of month-end activity. As I mentioned, put a single statement called all month-end activities are executed as usual during the year-end. Other than that, you give a list. Other than that, you give a list, your balance carry forward of customer, vendor and all, non-leading ledger, leading ledger, everything you talk about. Asset, how do you close the asset? How many years can you keep the asset accounting open at a time?
2 years.
2 years.
Hmm?
2 years.
Asset
2 years.
accounting is open for how many years?
2 years.
2 years. What is this 2-year
2 years.
logic? Is this CY plus PY or CY plus NY? I mean, current year previous year is open or current year next year is open? When you're talking about a 2-year, I'm talking about 3 years here. One is my current year, 2 is my previous year, 3 is my next year. Are these three possible or not? Current year, previous year, next year. How many years you have overall?
3 years.
3 years. How many years you can keep open in the asset accounting? 3?
2 years.
Only 2.
2 years.
Which are those 2?
Current year plus previous year.
Current year and previous year.
Current year plus previous year. Now this logic, how will it work? For example, if we are in 2023, if you are in 2023, until 31st December, assuming your financial year is January to December, assuming that your financial year is January to December, until 31st December, which years are open in asset accounting? Assuming 2023, can you tell the years?
2022 and 23.
2022 will become what? PY.
Previous year.
Yes.
And 2023 will become what? CY.
CY.
Correct? Is this right?
Yes, sir.
If we are in 2023 only, because you're all aware, you are going to close 2023 only in 2024, either on 3rd day of 24 or 5th day of 24. Am I correct? From 1st January onwards, what will happen? On 1st January 2024, since I've given the date here, 1st January 2024 onwards, will system allow you to post any asset entry related to 2024 or not? Assuming, example, we purchased a new asset or sold an asset on 1st Jan 2024. Possible or not?
Yes, sir, it's possible.
Is this possible or not? Buying and selling of an asset on 1st January or on 2nd January or on 3rd January, is it practically possible or not?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
on
sir.
any date it's possible.
This is possible. Now, will system allow you to record this entry? Or there is
Yes, sir,
any
system allow.
showstopper for? Hmm? Will system allow or there is any showstopper here?
If a portion period is open, it's allowed.
It will not allow. Why this will not allow?
Why?
Because
Year is
according
not
to
The
closed.
you,
previous year
system
not closed.
will always always checks calendar day for asset accounting. When you're talking about system will always check calendar day for asset accounting. It is irrespective for system. System does not care whether you're using January to December, April to March when you close. System doesn't care about it. It will blindly go based on the system date or calendar date. The moment calendar is changed from 2023 to 2024, the moment year is changed from 2023 to 2024, it will allow you to run even asset reports only if current year is 2024. Else, you will not be able to run any asset report. Am I correct? Asset report will throw an error. Year end fiscal year change is not happened. Anybody faced these problems? Until you change year from 2023 to 2024, it will not allow you to do any transaction in fixed asset. Either posting or reporting, it will not give. It will start straight away throw errors. Anybody noticed these problems?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Highest fiscal year we faced.
right?
Yes,
So
sir.
system will check what is the current fiscal year. So what you need to do when you are in this situation, 2023 will become what? Previous year.
Previous year.
2024 will become what?
Correct.
Current year.
Current year. Now this is another case. Now when somebody is asking about asset accounting or when you're talking about it, you need to make sure you talk these points. Not reading the list and all, you'll have to elaborate. If you talk 2-3 points from here, you can spend minimum 5 minutes with your interviewer. You can tell that there was an issue or there was a confusion. Tell openly that you are not aware this is something that you faced for the first time, and then you were confused, and then you told the client that no, this is not because of it. Later on you understood to tell that this was the one of the difficult situation that you faced in that project. You had to learn this or you learned from here. Sometimes you'll have to tell that this is something that you are not aware before, you came to know in your project only. When somebody is asking difficult situation, tricky situation, tell that I'm not aware of that, this is how it will work. I already told, committed to my client, and that later on I had to convince my client no, I was wrong. Tell different stories there. You can add the different points and then try to convince your interviewer. But the moment you start talking about these points, everybody will get connected to what you're talking, because these are the practical points which every consultant will face at the year end. If you're really part of the project, if you really see how year end happens in any project, these are all the practical points that you're supposed to talk and which are supposed to elaborate. Okay, here it will be 2023 will be current previous year, 2024 will be next year, I mean the current year. In short, the logic is always what? Current year, previous year. Now this is based on current calendar date, based on calendar date. When I'm talking about based on calendar date, don't go by your fiscal year. When I say don't go by fiscal year, don't look at whether you're using April to March, January to December, because system is not verifying that way. How system is verifying? Based on the calendar date. The moment calendar shows January 1st, 2024, according to system, current year is 2024. So you need to make sure 2024 is opened as new year, 2023 will become as previous year, and to make sure 2023 becomes previous year, 2024 is open, you'll have to close 1 year. Which year you'll have to close?
2022.
You'll have to close 2022. How do you close 2022? Is there any T code for closing a year?
Through Ajay or AJRW. Sorry, after AJRW.
There are two transaction codes. There are two transaction codes for asset closing. One is your AJAB, another one is AJAW. Are these two correct? Are these two correct? Are these two correct or not in ECC?
Yes.
Yes, Ajay, it's correct.
Yes, sir.
Now in S4 HANA system, are these two valid or only one is valid?
I think only one, sir, is able, I guess.
Which is valid, which is not valid in S/4HANA?
I guess is
AJ
able.
RW is
Hmm?
Okay.
Which is valid in S4, which is not there in S4. Only one is
In
applicable in S4 out
S4,
of these two.
AJAB,
ASAP,
yeah,
ASAP.
only AJAB is valid in S4 and EWRW is not valid in S4.
Okay. HARW is replaced with what? FAA underscore what?
CMP.
CMP. Meaning these points you'll have to know. You'll have to specifically talk. If you're talking about year-end closing, they might specifically put these questions. These questions will sound very simple, but very logical. Unless you work, unless you know conceptually, you will never be able to answer. Because in ECC, how do you close asset fiscal year? In S/4HANA, how do you close asset fiscal year? It is the same thing, but the difference is there. Now here again, there is one T code excluded here and one T code included here. What is excluded here? What is included here? ECC S/4HANA. Year balance, I'm talking about year end balance carry forward whatsoever for asset. What is it?
FAGL GVTR.
FAGL.
FHEL GVTR. This is excluded in ECC for assets. For S4, is this correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In ECC, FHEL GVTR is not relevant for asset. Is my statement correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In S4 HANA, FHEL GVTR will move the asset balances to next year. Is this correct or not correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now there is something called periodic processing. What is periodic processing? That is excluded in ECC, included in ECC, excluded in S4 HANA. What is that?
The ASKBN T code.
AS?
ASKBN, adjustment entries, ASKBN, KB.
Right?
Yes.
What is the other name for it? What will happen when you do it? There is something called delta depreciation. Anybody heard this?
Yes. Difference between area to area, depreciation area.
Alright. Depreciation difference between leading ledger, non-leading ledger is processed with the help of ASKBN as periodic reprocessing at the end of year. If there is any difference in the net book value of the asset in ECC between the two ledgers, it will not allow you to move the asset balances to next year. And what you need to do, you need to balance leading ledger closing balance, non-leading ledger closing balance of every fixed asset by way of posting delta depreciation. For posting the delta depreciation, system is going to do it. Now this is excluded, here it is included, and here it is out. In HANA it is out. Or simply excluded FAGL GVTR, included FAGL GVTR, and remove these two. This is included, this is excluded. Alright? These small points, like few points, if you're able to talk, that is more than enough in your interviews. Nobody will expect beyond this from you in any interview, but if you're able to talk these points, make sure you're not just telling one liner, you're keeping point, you'll have to elaborate it. Don't expect other person to put a cross question. You elaborate whatever you're talking, from that only the other person will put a question. If you're talking about this, during ECC financial year closing for asset accounting, we'll have to perform ASKB and periodic reprocessing. Same is not there or same is removed in S4 HANA system. With this, there is something called delta depreciation. You talk about what is delta depreciation. Tell that delta depreciation is the difference between leading ledger depreciation, non-leading ledger depreciation. Leading ledger, non-leading ledger are used because of two different accounting principle. Is that correct? Leading, non-leading we are using because you are using two different accounting principle. Is my statement correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Each
sir.
accounting principle will represent different way of asset accounting treatment. For example, your Indian accounting standard, your IFRS or your US GAAP or your any other country GAAP will give you different instructions to calculate asset depreciation. Since these two are different, there will be a different depreciation difference in ECC because in ECC only leading ledger can be real-time posting, non-leading ledger will only post depreciation. Non-leading ledger will only post depreciation. Both leading and non-leading are not real-time postings in ECC. But when it comes to S4 HANA, leading and non-leading both are real-time or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And
Both are real.
when it comes to S4 HANA system, leading and non-leading both are real-time. When both are real-time, there is no point of comparison. When there is no point of comparison, the point of delta depreciation is straight away ruled out. When you're talking these points, while talking about year-end activity, there the other person will practically realize, yes, this candidate is aware of the functionality, this candidate is aware of the concept of asset accounting closing or whatsoever. Any topic or any functionality that you're talking, always make sure if you start explaining from point number one, you go to different other corresponding connecting areas. Only then the other person will have a feel that yes, you know conceptually what is SAP FICO. If not, you are sticking only to year end, you tell that no, that is different and all, you are gone. Because the other person will straight away have an impression that you know only the points which are technical SAP FICO. When I'm talking about technical SAP FICO, you have headings, side headings for everything. Like you have in your academics, advantages, disadvantages, all the side headings, bullet points and all, that way you're talking. That way can easily be identified, can easily be tracked by any person. Even if somebody is talking in that way, you can easily identify or not. Yes, no. That I think he read somewhere or he studied somewhere or he by hearted somewhere, somebody told him. Can you find out when somebody is talking or not? Is it easy or not easy when somebody is talking about SAP FICO to find out whether they really have the knowledge about the subject or they just read something or they just by hearted or something they're talking? Can you easily find out or not at your level?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. Find it.
It is easily possible for anybody to find out that no, this candidate did not work. This candidate only knows the configuration. No, this candidate has not worked on SAP. You can easily find out because of the way that they're talking. Because you will be limited to certain areas. You will not go beyond a limit if you have not worked. If you have worked, you will try to explain things in a different way because you know how it works. When you know how it works, there is no point you will get confused. And when you are not sure how it works, but you have by hearted, you have understood from different sources, you will get stuck somewhere. The moment you are stuck, you will not be able to move forward from there. You cannot even open your mouth because you don't know what next, because something is stuck and everything will be stuck. And this is what majority people will find difficulty in the interview because you by heart the things. Because you're by hearting the things, you're trying to explain in a sequential order. There is no sequence in SAP FICO. There is no logic, there is no sequence, everything is random, everything is assembled in SAP FICO. You have to talk in the assembled way only. Assemble different things from different areas and then try to connect while talking. Then the other person feels they are only going to look at how you are connecting the dots. And if you are able to project, if you are able to showcase that you can connect different points in SAP FICO, you understand how this functionality works, how this business process works in SAP FICO, that is what the other person will look at. Sorry. That is what the other person is looking at, and you have to know these points and accordingly you need to talk. When you know these points, accordingly, when you list out certain points and when you practice, prepare, or okay, this is how I'm going to talk, this is how I'm going to explain, definitely wherever you go, whatever you talk to anybody, the other person will have a positive impact, positive opinion on you. Else, you're sounding okay, but not in an impressive way. When I say not in an impressive way, you're talking how everybody is talking. I'm not finding any difference in you when you're talking. Please create that difference. And though you talk only few points, but make sure you're strong, you're comfortable, you can create an impact that the other person feels your level of understanding. And if this is possible and if you're able to do it, it will be very easy for you to crack any interview. Not only in the interview, when you're in the project, when you're talking to somebody, the other person will have a very good opinion on you. Because nobody is going to look at whether you can configure, not configure. Nobody sits with you at that stage. It's all offline. Okay, there will be different other points, but considering these points, you have to list out the other points. Considering these points, you'll have to take these points as a base for writing down, for having an approach how you need to talk about year-end activities, or what exactly is year-end activity, what is going to happen, and what will be your role in the year-end activity. Because sometimes people specifically put you questions, what was your activity, what exactly you did in your year-end activity. Usually what people will do, they read out the year-end activity list, whatever you get from the Google. You Google year-end activities in SAP FICO, you'll get a big list, detailed list you will get. That everybody will tell, but nobody wants it. Everybody will tell the Google list of SAP FICO year-end activities. Nobody wants it. Why? Why nobody wants it? Because not everything is applicable for every project. You need to talk, you need to explain the year-end activities, on what basis you are going to do it. What are the key points? What exactly will happen? What was your role? What exactly you did in your project for year-end activity? Or if you will be put on a project, what is going to happen in the year-end activity? Those activities, those points, if you're able to talk, that will create a positive impact. If not, it will create a negative impact. Negative impact or no impact. When there is a negative impact, when there is no impact, you are not going to get any benefit. If there is a positive impact, or at least if you're trying to create the impact, the other person will realize that okay, this candidate has got some understanding, like he or she is able to talk in a practical way, conceptual way, then they will recognize it very easily. It's very easy to find out when somebody is talking whether they know the subject or not. It's very, very easy. Even you can easily find out. When I say even you can easily find out, imagine when somebody is taking interview, it's very easy for them to decide within few minutes this candidate is okay or not okay. It's very easy. They don't need to put questions for 30 minutes because it is formality to talk for 30 minutes. They will talk for 30 minutes, but within few minutes they know you are fit or unfit. Alright, let me stop this here, and the remaining part we'll continue in the next session.